On the bottom of Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph, we just finished with a raya. Rava is of the opinion that lekicha al yidei davar acher, picking up a lulav via an intermediary, is considered a fine picking up of the lulav, and he's not concerned for the chatzitza aspect of it. That is Shitas Rava. Rava proved this din from a fascinating din that we spoke about last night, which was the Ezoiv, which was dipping this hyssop branch into the waters of the Para Aduma. And says Rava that dipping them in is okay, even though, again, let's go back to our example, they tied the hyssop with a string in order to get the liquid out of the bottom of the tube, and still said Rava, it's fine. Why is it fine? From here proves Rava, lekicha idi davar acher, shma lekicha, that even though there's an intermediary, even though you're not holding the ezoiv biyodayim, it's going to be fine. That is where we finished last night. Says the Gemara, mi mai. 3 lines from the bottom. How do you know that this is true? Dilma, perhaps. Shiny, awesome. That case is different. Kivon de chabre, kegufe dami. Maybe that case is different because it's connected. What about by us? What was our case? Our case was a lulav with a sudar wrapped around it. The sudar is not connected to the lulav. So says the Gemara, maybe in the case of the Ezoiv, that branch was tied together with a string. So maybe only when something is tied, that's when it's called one. But maybe, says the Gemara, if you have just a handkerchief that's separated between the lulav and your hand, maybe, that is, yes, called a chatzitza. So asks the Gemara on Rava's raya. Again, Mimai, from where do you know your raya? Dilma, shiny, awesome. Maybe that case is different. Kivan dechabre, because it is connected. Mechubar, it is connected. Kigufe dami, it is considered one. So says the Gemara, okay, so we have no raya. So we're back to square one, which is what? Trying to bring a raya to Shitas Rava, which is what nachamo, that lekicha di davar acher shema lekicha, and we're not concerned if there's a break between, if there's a separation, a chatzitza between your hands. So says the Gemara, Ela mehacha. I'll bring you another raya. Says the Brisa, nafal, it falls, meishvai feres, from the tube, la shoikes, into the trough. Very good. It falls from the tube into the water basin that contains what is going to be the ashes of the paraduma. So what is going on over here is we have the ashes of the paraduma, and those ashes have to be mixed with the water. Says the Gemara, what happens? You're carrying the ashes, and you drop the cup, and the ashes fall into the water. Does that work? Says the Gemara, apostle. That doesn't work. Why not? Because says the Torah, you have to put it together, as the Gemara is about to say. Did you put the two together? No. Falls on its own. But proves the Gemara, 1 second. Oh, we turn over to Amid Beis. Hey, Pila. Let's say it didn't fall on its own. Let's say you poured it in. I'm holding my tube of my ashes. So the case of the Brisa was, if I by accident drop it, it's no good. What's the diak? What if I took the ashes and I poured it into the water? Seemingly it would be, yeah, good. Says the Gemara, ha'pilo kosher. Amai, why is it kosher? The pasuk says v'lachu, and you should take v'nasan, and you should place amarachmana. And is that called placing? Did you take the ashes with your hands and put it in the water? No. So what's the reason it's going to work? The only conceivable reason, says the Gemara, is Elolav. Rather, what must the reason be? Shema mina raya lekicha de'avracher shema lekicha. That could be called placing it in, even though you didn't use your hands. It's true, you didn't take your fingers and take the ashes and put it in the water. And it's true. But if you fall it in, if you push it in, if you pour it in, it's going to work. So proves the Gemara, indeed, Shitas Rava, Lekicha, Yidi Davar Acher, Shema, Lekicha. And that is really the end of Rava's Raya. So we had two potential Rayas. The first one, the Gemara deflected, and the second one we stand with. Velamaisa, if you pour in the ashes, it will, yes, work, proving that even though you didn't place them with your hands and you did it with an intermediary, that's going to be fine as well. Period. End of this sub-sugya. Yes. Poured. Hipilu is a fascinating word. Nafal means to fall. Hipilu means you caused to fall. Exactly. How do you cause to fall? It's called pouring in English. If you were in words going to use, it could have said shafach, which is way to pour, but that's the word. If you look at the top Rashi says bimit kavein, with kavana. Dumya dinafal meila, meaning we're trying to be medayik. In the case on the bottom was it fell on its own. That's not good. But if it fell with intent, which in English we call pouring it, is yes good. No, very good. That's the raya. No, Givaldik, that's the raya. It's no different. But when I poured it, did I touch the ashes with my hands? No. So the Gemara proves, good. No, one step more. You could facilitate placing it even without your fingers. How? Because lekicha taking something with an intermediary is this. Oh, very good. It's called, we're redefining what's lekicha. Exactly. That is the raya to Rav. Shitas Rava is just like by the lulav. Now let's go back. By your lulav, we have to take a lulav lokach, right? Says Rava Givaldik, wrap your lulav in your kerchief and hold your lulav. How is that lokach? There's something separating. Says Rava, taking to an intermediary. It's called taking. Why?
He's actually taking it.
B'kavana mamish. Yeah,
here you're
good.
Placing it in there.
Okay. And it was the kol shkin. Maybe. Very good. Very good. Givaldik. Let's continue weiter.
It reminds me of the carbon with the wind blowing this.
Oh, very good. Very good.
So
very good.
You're pouring it?
Very good. Or it happens on its own. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Dichoy biyadayim. V'omer Rabba. Says the Gemara. Says Rabba. Loi lidutz inish lulava be'oishana. One should not lidoitz, literally means to push or to shove his lulav with his hoishana. Which this is something that maybe people do. I have my aravos and my hadassim together. I should not push my lulav into my aravos and hadassim. Why not? What's the problem? Says the Gemara, you know why? To Dilma, perhaps as I'm pushing it in, what's going to happen? Natsrei tarfei. The leaves are going to fall off. And the leaves themselves, the have chatzitza, and the leaves that you're going to push off of the hadassim, of the aravos, they will be a chatzitza in itself. So anyone who uses the lulav holder, this wouldn't be relevant, obviously, because then you have a barrier. But let's say someone does it. Right. Let's say someone does it. Chassidim actually, a lot of them don't use lulav holder. They just wrap with the lulav and hadassim and ravos themselves. So let's say you have them, you want to push lulav in. Says Rabbi, don't do that. Why? Because as you push in, it might rip off a leaf of the hadas and the arava. Now, it won't passel up the hadas and the rava. Don't make a mistake. But what's it going to do? It's going to create a separation between the two. So what would you answer? What's Rava's answer? It says Rava, no, Rava Amar, no, it's not a problem. A klal in chatzitza. Min b'mina inay chatzitz. If it's the same type of item. A chatzitza can't be it itself. It's a big rule in chatzitzoitz. Chatzitzoitz. How does this work?
You're saying it's leaves that are for
Very good.
item. It's not.
Even though it's not. It's not really part of the item, obviously, right? Because it fell off.
But it's
Oh, good. That's the machlokes Rabba and Rava. I'm sorry.
Why isn't it considered Maris Ayin? The people that use the gold rings, like even though there wasn't it was a min, the same min under it, it's still like not Maris Ayin, but like why is that still okay?
That what? Why should it not be okay? Because you can't tell that it's directly on. That's what you're asking?
Yeah.
No, so that definitely could be true, which, we have to go back. We didn't really, the Gemara didn't really discuss that part yet. But the Mishnah said that the problem is, okay, the truth, I'm not answering your question. The answer really is we have to understand Marasayin, which is a very complicated halacha. You're asking, it's not our Gemara, but that's a very good kasha. The Mishnah taught us, sorry? Or Mishnah taught us the gold rings, it's okay. Why? Because there's other rings underneath it. He's asking, I know and knows that. So why is it on Marasayan that you're allowed to use golden rings? So this is a rule really in all Marasayan. It's hard to understand how exactly it applies.
It does apply because with the Menumin.
Correct. So it's very good. Very good. I'm not answering the kasha exactly. I'm going to do this. I'm not answering the kasha. It's a good kasha. And it's something. I'm sorry.
Left field.
Yeah, it's okay. Left field's okay. Let's go a little weiter. V'amar Rabba, loi ligois inish lulava. One should not cut down his lulav. Ligois literally means to cut down, to trim. You have a very long lulav. Don't cut it down. B'hoishana, when it is already bound together. Why? Because some of the leaves that get detached will stick behind, and the same thing. If you cut off some of your lulav leaves, they're going to now be a chatzitza between your lulav, your das, and your ravais. And what does Rava respond?
What does it mean, the lulav b'hoishana?
While it's together, loligo is inish lulava. One should not cut down their lulav. When it is together in the Oishana, when it is together with the leaves. No, that you'll know, because you can cut off the leaf. What's going to happen? It's now a detached leaf, and now that detached leaf is separating between your hadassim and your arava, and your lulav. Excuse me, for the lulav, exactly. If you cut off those leaves,
so it's basically the same case as
correct. So now what does Rava respond? Rava Amar, very good. It's correct. Correct. That is seemingly the machlekes Rava and Rava. And the Gemara so far had two applications, manifestations of that machlekes. One more, V'amar Rava. Not one more, but another did in Hadass and Rabbis. Hadass shel mitzvah. Hadass of the mitzvah. You pick up your hadassim. Asur lahariach ba. You're not allowed to smell it. Very good. You're not allowed to smell your hadass.
Why not?
Oh, why not?
Oh, that's part of your.
And go to the next line, in case it's not confusing enough. But esrog shel mitzvah. So the hadas you can't smell, but the esrog you could smell. Lama. Yeah.
Some people use hadassim as their.
No. Very good. Hadas shel mitzvah. You're right. Very good. A regular hadassim you could smell. Once you have your das and maravas lulav together, don't smell the hadas. But you can smell the esrog. What shot? Says the Gemara, my taima. What is the reason hadas you cannot, and an esrog you can? Yeah. Says Gemara, Shragi, Mamish, your answer. Hadas, dilarecha. In general, what is hadasim used for? They're used for reach. They're used for smell. Therefore, ki aksaye, when you cut it down, and you cut it down to be a hadas, where? Inside your lulav. What is your mindset at that moment? Again, you have an item that's usually used for smell. And now you cut it down. Why? B'dafka, specifically for your lulav. So meirecha akse. What's your mindset? that Meirecha from smell, akse, you set it aside. Since it's normally used for smell, and you're now using it for your lulav, by the very definition that your mindset is to use it for a lulav means you're designating, you're setting it aside. I'm only using these adasim for my lulav. However, esroi tilachilokoi. What's a normal usage of an esrog? You eat an esrog. So now again, the exact same svara. Ki akse, when you cut down your esrog, what's your mindset? Me'achila akse. You're no, not to eat it. You're separating it from eating it for the mitzvah. So therefore, wait. So now you only can't eat it. Well, can you smell it? Yes. This becomes a little bit counterintuitive. That whatever the normal usage of the item is, when you cut it down for a mitzvah, that normal usage cannot be had. Why not? Because you bedafka, you proactively are thinking, hadas, I'm not smelling, I'm using it for a mitzvah. Esrog, I'm not eating, I'm using it for a mitzvah. But now you want to know, can I use the esrog to smell? That you can yes do. That you can yes do. Okay, we have a few more rabbis. Let's pull it up over here. Even though we have a few lines to Mishnah, it's perfectly fine.